The woolly rhino, or Coelophysis, is a relative to the modern-day Sumatran rhino. Much like its contemporary, the woolly mammoth, this rhino inhabited what is now called the Mammoth Steppe, a vast cold grassland that extended from Western Europe to the most remote corners of Siberia. By bringing this animal back to life, we honour that wonderfully diverse ecosystem, now lost to the ages. At last, the woolly mammoth, ruler of the Ice Age, then ruler of none. There's nothing quite like it on the planet today. Just like their closest elephant cousins, mammoths are highly social, forming large family groups led by matriarchs. So that means we need to make sure we give them enough company. I would hate to see them feel lonely. While a rhinoceros's smile could be considered rather unpleasant, the teeth of Paraceratherium make its smile something to behold. Beneath that long upper lip are two sets of tusks that point at odd angles from each jaw, making them look like they seriously need a visit from the dentist. Oh boy, that's a big kitty, more commonly known as the saber-toothed tiger. Smilodon makes for a formidable predator. This large feline could gape its mouth to impressive extents, up to 120 degrees, almost twice as much as a lion. I would love to see it in action from a safe distance. There it is, the one and only king of the tyrant lizards. Tyrannosaurus is as big as the movies, and yet somehow even scarier. While your favourite dinosaur movie might have depicted the T-Rex with rather poor vision, brain scans have revealed that its vision rivalled that of modern birds of prey, which means that it's watching you just as much as you're watching it. Eerie stuff. Ah yes, the Torvosaurus, an apex predator of the Jurassic. As it turns out, there were many apex predators in the Jurassic living alongside Torvosaurus. With so many large carnivores in one area competing for the same food, different species must have specialised in different prey. Acrocanthosaurus, the high-spined lizard. An apex predator, and a good one at that. Each side of its upper jaw sports 19 razor-sharp teeth, but I don't recommend getting close enough to count them all. Dilophosaurus is such a gorgeous creature. Those graceful notched jaws can pack a powerful bite, but watch out for those arms. Their length and mobility make it all too easy for Dilophosaurus to bring prey straight to its mouth. So if the teeth don't catch up, its arms just might. Coelophysis is without a doubt the most iconic dinosaur of the Triassic period. Just like how many Hollywood icons have left their handprints behind in concrete at the famous Chinese theatre, many fossilised footprints known as grelata have been attributed to Coelophysis. It must have been quite a celebrity back in the day. This is an Archaeopteryx. Its fossil was one of the most important scientific discoveries ever made. In addition to its obvious bird-like traits, it also sported many traditional dinosaur features, such as sharp teeth, a bony tail, and a killing claw, similar to its distant relative, the Velociraptor. This handsome little fella is one of my personal favourites, the Microraptor. Those tufts on its hind legs are not stylish trousers, they're actually flight feathers. With 4 wings full of delicate but vital flight feathers, these creatures have to be careful not to drag them on the ground and cause permanent damage. Now, I've seen skeletons of Argentinosaurus before, but nothing can prepare you for the sheer immensity of this dinosaur in the flesh. These titanic sauropods, fittingly called titanosaurs, grow rapidly. Once they reach a certain size, they're virtually untouchable and have nothing to fear from puny apex predators. Hungry guests, though, let's hope we don't find out. You can't get a much more classic dinosaur than Brachiosaurus. Brachiosaurus is a sauropod, a type of herbivorous dinosaur with a tiny head at the end of a long neck. The largest animals to ever walk on land were sauropods, but not all of them were so gargantuan. For instance, Dilophosaurus grew just over 6 meters long, which, to be fair, is still very large. There it is, Camarasaurus, the star of the Morrison Formation. One of the reasons this animal is so common in the fossil record is the sturdiness of its blunt skull. Looking at it more closely, I can sort of see how that could be the case. Wouldn't you agree? Now this is an interesting fellow. This dinosaur is called Deinocheirus, a name meaning horrible hand. Its hands aren't actually horrible, mind you. Calling dinosaurs things like terrible or horrible is a trend that goes all the way back to Sir Richard Owen, who first coined the term dinosaur, which of course means terrible lizard. A Dryosaurus. They originally inhabited forested areas of the late Jurassic, with their name literally translating to tree lizard. I wonder if they bark. Found all over western North America, Edmontosaurus is the textbook definition of a hadrosaur. They're one of the most well-studied animals in the fossil record, providing us with a wealth of insight into how they ate, socialised and survived. Iguanodon, one of the first dinosaurs to be formally named. Iguanodon is also one of the first dinosaurs to be sculpted. The original sculptures can still be seen in Crystal Palace Park in London. The artist behind the sculptures, Benjamin Waterhouse Hawkins, famously hosted an 8-course dinner inside one of the incomplete sculptures on New Year's Eve, 1853. How's that for a party? Lambeosaurus, a crested hadrosaur from the late Cretaceous. In my opinion, the most interesting thing about hadrosaurs isn't the presence or absence of a crest, but the way they move. They're able to walk as bipeds or quadrupeds as the situation demands, a rare feature in the animal kingdom. Now that, my friend, is a beautiful dinosaur. Almost like a musical instrument, Parasaurolophus used their crest for long-distance communication. They didn't use their tube-shaped crest as a snorkel. contrary to previous hypotheses. Nevertheless, I quite like the mental image of a Parasaurolophus going snorkeling. Look at the horns on that one. This must be Nasutoceratops, a ceratopsian best identified by its large cow-like features. This massive creature weighs approximately 1.5 tons. To put that into perspective, a mature Spanish fighting bull can weigh up to 0.7 tons. Imagine setting that loose on the streets of Pamplona in Spain. Ah, a Pachyrhinosaurus. I've been told that these dinosaurs are quite bossy. Instead of a nasal horn, Pachyrhinosaurus sports an overgrown mass of bone called a nasal boss above its eyes and nose. It certainly lives up to its name, the thick-nosed lizard. With a head like that, we must be looking at Styracosaurus. Styracosaurus belongs to a group of ceratopsians called centrosaurines, which tend to have longer nasal horns, shorter brow horns and spiny frills. The famous Triceratops, in contrast, belongs to the chasmosaurines, which instead favour longer brow horns and long, simple frills. Triceratops, one of the most recognisable and largest dinosaurs of its kind. Several fossilised Triceratops have been given nicknames, like Lane, Hatcher or Homer. Personally, I prefer names starting with T. Protoceratops. This animal is one of the smaller species of ceratopsians, living alongside deadly neighbours like the Velociraptor. One famous fossil preserves a Protoceratops and a Velociraptor locked in battle. I know that look in your eyes. I don't care if it's in the name of science. Don't put the two species together. We don't need to deal with another ethics violation. It's always a pleasure to run into a fellow Brit so far away from home. Meet Scelidosaurus, an early armoured dinosaur from England and Ireland. The armour pieces on armoured dinosaurs are more accurately called osteoderms, a word that literally means bone skin. Now this little fella is a Psittacosaurus. Just looking at its face, you might not realise that this was one of the first ceratopsians. It may lack a frill and forward-projecting horns, but you can still see the resemblance in its strong beak and its cheek horns.